Attention! Join us in Ethiopia from the 20th to the 29th of July 2026 for the Lion of Judah Tour, as we celebrate the 134th anniversary of Emperor Haile Selassie I, Emperor of Ethiopia. In Addis Ababa, we will visit the Grand Jubilee Palace, the University of Addis Ababa Imperial Palace, the Throne Room and Palace of Menelik II, and of course, the Science Museum, the National Museum, the Battle of Adwa Museum, and so much more. Then we go south to Shashamane and visit the hot springs and waterfalls of Wando Gede. And don't forget the summer palace of the emperor. Come prepared to rock Nayabing. Remember that the Lion of Judah Tour is all inclusive. Your meals, your accommodations, transportation, and so much more. Plus, take advantage of our 50%, 30%, and 20% discounts that are available. For more information or to register, email us at priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com. The Lion of Judah Tour. What a gathering. And see you there.
Abatachin, Janoi, Nigasai, Selassie, Ja, Rastafari, Denestelin Royal Family, Dena Nacho. And I'm asking, how are you? Giving thanks for your presence with us in the Tiger's Temple, Honorable Priest Isaac, here with you. What a joy that we can meet and greet and sup and sip and take things to another level. Now, I would have been doing a few programs directly highlighting Haile Selassie I as Earth's rightful ruler, not necessarily taking it from some scriptural or theological point of view, but just reality on planet Earth. Now, this presentation is going to be another one of those presentations which will be showing you specifically in the mystic form that Haile Selassie I for sure is Earth's rightful ruler. We already proved this when it came to the Shah of Iran and his banquet. If you didn't see that program, you should check that one out. We showed you how it was when Haile Selassie I encountered Queen Elizabeth II and, of course, the kiss of death. We just gave you a program a few days ago highlighting the galactical warfare between Emperor Haile Selassie I in that visitation 1970 and the Pope of Rome at the time. Anyone who saw that, it's impossible for you to deny that there wasn't some sort of celestial tug of war taking place there. In my book, it was really a massacre, but just making it sound balanced for the listening ear. Now, what we are going to do here, Royal Family. In 1963, Haile Selassie I visited the United States of America. He visited New York City, he visited Washington, D.C., and spent some time with the President of the United States, President Kennedy. Haile Selassie I spoke at the UN. This is a very serious visitation. This wasn't no joke. In 1963, when he spoke at the UN, that was sealing the fulfillment of the Orion's prophecy with Asa ascending up to Sahu. Sahu is Orion, and Asa becoming the the Orion constellation. Asa is Osiris. And remember, Orion or Sahu is the Lord of the heavens, the Lord of the sky. Half of Orion or Sahu is on the north and half is on the south. The only constellation that has a feature like that is Ophiuchus, which is the serpent holder, which is exactly 180 degrees away from the Orion or the Sahu constellation. Very powerful. And again, those of you who follow our works and have been following us for a while properly, you understand that this was the time when Orion or Sahu moved into this region of the sky after tens of thousands of years. This is serious. So half of Sahu or Orion is on the northern celestial region of the sky, and half of Orion or Sahu is on the southern celestial region of the sky. And remember now, when Haile Selassie I spoke to the United Nations, that is when he became the only head of state to speak to both League of Nations and the United Nations at that time. And that is to prove that he's now the Sahu, the Osiris has resurrected and become the Orion, because Osiris was not always Orion. It is after he resurrected, he became Orion. And we proved this because Haile Selassie brought to the UN just before he went to speak the obelisk specifically of Aksum, the Teken. Now remember, the Teken is the phallic of Osiris. The Teken is the phallic of Asar after he was cut into the several pieces. Article 16, 16 pieces. Remember, the phallic is the part of the body that they could not find when they put him back together. I'm talking about Osiris, Asar, the master of ceremonies. And of course, our book, the heavens declare the glory. The heavens declare the glory. How many of you have a copy of that book? Fulfilling Rastafari in the heavens, in the celestial realms. The heavens declare the glory. That is a book written by myself, explaining everything that I'm speaking of right now. You should get a copy, and I think you know how to do that. You email us, priestisaachinstitute@gmail.com, and request a copy of the book, The Heavens Declare the Glory. So the fact that Haile Selassie I brought the symbol of Osiris, we're not making that up, you know. The obelisks in Egypt and the obelisks in Ethiopia, they're all symbolic of the phallic of Osiris. May sound gross to you, but that's just what it is. And that was the part of the goody, the anatomy of Asar that could not be found. And then after they put him back together without that and wrapped him up, Anubis, Anpu, brought him back to life. He went up in the heavens and became the constellation of Orion. He went up in the sky, sounds familiar, and became the constellation known as Sahu. And one of the outstanding features of Sahu is that half of him is on the north and half of him is on the south. The celestial equator runs through the very famous Orion's belt. So this is key, and it was not always so. It took tens of thousands of years of celestial movements for Osiris or Asar, which is Orion, to hit perfectly where the belt is on the celestial equator. And as I said, we would have done programs in depth dealing with this, and this is not even really the subject at the moment. To be honest, it's just the spirit that brought that out. But I think it's still important for you to understand how important that year was when he visited. And not just the year, the visitation. But then the year now, 1963, is very key because that is when we established on the 25th of May the Organization of African Unity in Ethiopia. So coming off of that, the emperor now in the United States of America a few months after, and again addressing the United Nations. 1963, 1936, just turned the 6 and the 3. 1936, he addressed the League of Nations. And we understood what happened there. The only head of state, the only head of state to address both League of Nations and the United Nations. And that was concretized when he addressed the United Nations in 1963. The scripture says that this mighty angel had 1 foot on water and 1 foot on land. Again, symbolic of the Orion, as half is on the northern and half is on the southern. I'm talking of the hemisphere of the heavens. We're talking celestial academics here. So comprehend this. The key point is that before he spoke to seal up the Orion's prophecy of Osiris becoming Sahu, before he spoke to seal it up, he gave them, the UN, specifically the Secretary General Utan, he gave him the obelisk. He gave him the phallic of Osiris. How clear can a prophecy be? And we want to burn fire on Egypt and this and that, when the King of Kings himself acknowledging what we would have highlighted in the Master of Ceremonies. Decade plus now, Haile Selassie is the Asa. So again, that's just, drawing some importance to the time frame and the visit. Because what we are going to go into now, that's just the introduction. As I said, that wasn't even a part of the thought pattern coming into this, but since we said it all, I think it adds now to the importance of the visitation that Emperor Haile Selassie I made to the United States of America in 1963. All right, let's get to this.
To everyone who has been asking, Priest Isaac, how can I make a contribution to the Institute? Press the link in the description and you'll get all the information that you need to do such. We truly appreciate your inquiry. For more information, email priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com.
Blessed love, Honorable Priest Isaac. It's Sister Beulah here. Just come to share a few words regarding my natal chart, which was recently done. Thank you. But firstly, I have to make mention of the rudiments of ancient astronomy course that I completed, which ultimately woke my heavens to astronomy as a subject as a whole, and the ancient fundamentals of the universe, planets, stars, and all the other beautiful things I'm learning about. The spring equinox, real like that. And just the effect that they have on us daily. Why I think it's really important you have some basic knowledge of astronomy before you get your natal chart reading done is so you will understand the straightforward mathematics that goes into the reading that Priest Isaac does for you. The natal chart reading is nothing to be viewed with any taboo or spookism. It just offers an in-depth astrological reading of the heavens at your time of birth, and the way the Honourable Priest Isaac is able to break down the planetary alignments and interpret how they should be showing up through you as an individual is just mind-blowing and accurate to your character. Trust me, it just adds deeper meaning to self. For me personally, getting my natal chart reading done and embarking on the principles of ancient astronomy as an ongoing study daily has been the best thing I could have ever done for me and my children. Rastafari. For these few words, I'm very thankful, and for crossing paths with the Priest Isaac Institute, I will forever be grateful for. Rastafari, Empress Menensil, blessed love. Thank you.
For all those who are planning to be with us in July for the Lion of Judah tour from the 20th to the 29th, we have created a booklet answering all the questions that you would have as it relates to this upcoming tour. The itinerary is also included in the booklet. You can get the booklet in PDF form by emailing us priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com. But in the description below the video, you have the link to the digital flipbook version of this booklet, The Lion of Judah Tour. You get all the information on where we will be going on our events. You have all the information as it relates to the special discounts, the 50%, the 40%, the 30%, and of course the full price, which is still very economical for the grand tour that you will be getting, the marvelous package that we would have put together for this upcoming Lion of Judah tour. So again, press the link in the description below for the online flipbook, or email us if you prefer the PDF, Priest Isaac Institute @gmail.com. Yes, Royal Family, give thanks again for your presence, and of course, reminding everyone of the official launch of the essay competition, the Ethiopian essay competition, from the 5th of May until the 2nd of November. And remember, Royal Family, you can definitely get more information by even contacting us, emailing us, priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com. And this is going to be a wonderful exercise. I'm talking about the Priest Isaac's Institute of Holistic Knowledge Ethiopian Tariq Essay Competition. Now, many ones may not be in agreement with the concept, for example, of reincarnation. But you got to understand the spiritual realms is a different realms. It's not every time that it's reincarnation. Spirits move from one physical to another. Even in your Bible, many ones consider that John the Baptist was like a reincarnation of Elijah. As the Bible says, he shall send Elijah again. And Christ said that, well, Elijah already came and gone. And then they realized that he was speaking of John the Baptist. But when Elijah himself went up, he left his spirit on Elisha. That's not necessarily reincarnation, because Elisha was around when Elijah was around. When someone reincarnates, that means they pass on and come back again. But anyway, as I said, the main point is that the spiritual realms is a different realms. How many people have, their degree in the full understanding of celestial spiritualism? Yeah, you may have a little spiritual inclination, but do you really understand this thing? Can you really do spiritual surgery? There's a strong connection between Abraham Lincoln and John F. Kennedy, both presidents of the United States of America. And the connection that I will be showing to you now is something that is widely published, nothing that we unraveled here. Well known. What we unraveled, we'll be showing to you in a moment. In 1846, Abraham Lincoln was elected to Congress. Exactly 100 years later, in 1946, John F. Kennedy was elected to Congress. In 1860, President Lincoln became the President of the United States of America. Precisely 100 years later, in 1960, John F. Kennedy became President of the United States of America. In each of their terms, civil rights was a formative issue. And that goes without saying. Of course, it was Abraham Lincoln that would have issued the Emancipation Proclamation. Good old Abe freed the slaves. You know that. Very good. Then now, in the time of John F. Kennedy, President Kennedy, he would have been one of the champions, according to our people, for civil rights. In those days, when you go into the house of a black man, the house of a black woman, the black family, you have two key pictures on the wall. You have the picture of Jesus Christ and you have the picture of John F. Kennedy. This is reality. Anyone from that time, that era, and that place can tell you what I'm telling you here. All right. In each of their terms, again, civil rights was a formative issue. While living in the White House, Lincoln's wife and Kennedy's wife lost a child. Both Lincoln and Kennedy were shot on a Friday. Both presidents were shot in the head 100 years after. Each of their assassins were from the South. Both were succeeded by a Southerner named Johnson, both presidents, their vice president. Andrew Johnson was born in 1808. That's the vice president of Lincoln. Lyndon Johnson was born 100 years later in 1908. That's the vice president of John F. Kennedy. President Lincoln was shot in a theater and his assassin fled into a warehouse. President Kennedy's assassin shot him from a warehouse and fled into a theater. This says, topping it off, Lincoln was shot in a theater named Ford, and Kennedy was shot in a car named Lincoln, which was made by Ford. Now, it says topping it off. This is from RWC Pulse, but there's more than that. But the point is obvious and the point is clear that there's some connection here, some oneness between these two individuals. Number one, the time frame alone, 100 years apart in every way. And then at the same time, when you look at it, you can see, without a doubt, one was shot from a warehouse and his assassin went into the theater, while one was shot in the theater and his assassin ran into the warehouse. Both of them replaced by Johnson, Andrew Johnson and Lyndon Johnson, and they were born 100 years apart. Everything is 100 years apart. And then at the same time, when you look into it, considering that both of them lost a child while they were in office, both of them dealt with what is known as civil rights. That article said to top it off, but there's more. Remember that Kennedy had a secretary whose name was Lincoln, and his secretary told him, Kennedy, that he should not go to Dallas where he got assassinated. I'm sure you know the next part. Lincoln, the president, had a secretary named Kennedy who also encouraged him or tried to encourage him not to go to the theater. He wasn't encouraged because he went, and there he met his demise.
This will be the first meeting for President John F. Kennedy and Mrs. Kennedy with the man who played a leading role in the creation of African unity.
Hear the speech from President Kennedy. It's not the full speech, but it has enough for you to understand the importance of Haile Selassie.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know I speak in behalf of all of my fellow Americans in welcoming His Imperial Majesty back to the United States. Since His Majesty visited the United States nearly a decade ago, we have seen one of the most extraordinary revolutions in history, and that has been the appearance on the world scene of 29 independent countries.
We have seen one of the most extraordinary, that means extraordinary revolutions in history. We have seen one of the most extraordinary revolution in history. Listen to what he's saying.
In a short space of less than 10 years, including over 150 million people.
In the short space of less than 10 years, including over 150 million people. The most extraordinary revolution in history, one of the.
The conference recently held in His Majesty's capital served, I think, to bring together in a great cooperative movement the people of most of these countries.
The conference just held, he's speaking of the formation of the 25th of May 1963, the Organization of African Unity.
And the success of that conference was due in no small part to the leadership of our distinguished guest. His efforts to move his country forward and provide a better life for its people, and his efforts throughout the world, which stretch back over 30 or 40 years. For all of this, Your Majesty, we take the greatest pride in welcoming you here. You do us honor, and I can assure you that...
Before he assures you. So just understand this, He clearly is showing us that we're dealing with the chief revolutionary here. You hear we talk about revolutionary people and, this man is this great revolutionary and so forth. And listen to me, no disrespect to none of the revolutionaries, whether it's Thomas Sankara or whether it's Fidel Castro or whoever it may be, of course. But what I'm saying, because we have been hit on the head and rendered dead, trust me, looking for the good Samaritan to come and help us up, we have forgotten our true history. This is why we have the Ethiopian history essay competition, because many ones do not understand the value of Haile Selassie the first. Hear this fellow here, the president, say that Haile Selassie is the greatest revolutionary amongst us. That's what he said, if he is the leader of the greatest revolutionary, the most dynamic revolution revolution, pardon me, one of the most in history. Well, what else is he saying? Over 150 million people, and the conference just held in his capital. You do us honor. You may say, okay, all of these are diplomatic words. No, he's giving you some diplomatic facts. 150 million people freed and given their independence is not diplomatic words. It's diplomatic facts he's talking about here. And he listened to his sealed words. I assure you, your Imperial Majesty.
There is no guest that we will receive in this country that will give a greater sense of livelier pride and satisfaction to the American people than your presence here today. Your Majesty, you're most welcome.
There's no guest that we will receive in this country that will give us a better sense of livelier pride and satisfaction as your visit with us today, Your Majesty. No guess that we will receive. No guess. What was he? He's like he's a fortune teller. He sees into the future that nobody else that comes here, even after I'm gone, will give us more pride and livelier satisfaction than your presence here with us, Your Imperial Majesty. You are most welcome. No other guests? What do you mean no other guests? King Charles was just in America. What do you mean no other guests will come here? The Pope visited since. What do you mean no other guests? Queen Elizabeth has been to America. How dare you say? You forget they have other leaders in the world that will come? How dare you say, John F. Kennedy, that no other guests will come to this shore or these shores that will have given us such pride and satisfaction as your presence with us, Your Imperial Majesty. He tell him, you are most welcome.
The Memorial to Abraham Lincoln. The Emperor and his party arrive at the Lincoln Memorial to place a silver wreath in honor of the American president, who is an international symbol of unity and freedom. President Kennedy's Secretary of Interior, Stuart Udall, accompanies the Emperor. Included in the Emperor's party are Ras Imru Haile Selassie, Ambassador Dinky, Ethiopian ambassador to the United States, and Ambassador Corey, United States ambassador to Ethiopia.
There you see the emperor laying this silver wreath. And this silver wreath was made from hundreds of Ethiopian silver coins. Royal family, that alone stands out because Abraham Lincoln, remember this is the Lincoln Memorial. Abraham Lincoln was despised for releasing the slaves. You know that. Or we would have done programs on that. Look at the different coins that you have in the United States currency. Number one, the largest coin, the 25-cent piece, whose picture is on that. It's George Washington. So you have the 25-cent piece, which is the quarter. You have the dime, which is the the 10 cents, and you have the nickel, which is the 5 cents, and you have the penny, which is the 1 cent, the penny. Now, the penny is where they put Abraham Lincoln. Now, look at the penny, the 1 cent, where you have Abraham Lincoln. It's obviously the smallest, and it has this brassy, brownish color. The other coins have a silver look. Listen to me good. The other coins with the other presidents have a silver look. But the coin that Abraham Lincoln is on has this brownish sort of look. Now, when you observe them, all the other presidents on the silver coin are looking in the same direction. Abraham Lincoln is looking in the opposite direction to them. So when you put Abraham behind them, it is as if they have their backs turned to Mr. Abraham. But when you put Abraham in front of them, it looks as if they are confronting and judging Mr. Abraham. All of this is Freemasonry. Eh? This is how they roll in symbolism. For you to understand that same 25 cents piece, if you hold it at a distance, arm's length to a regular full moon, it eclipses the full moon perfectly. It's designed that way. Abraham Lincoln, interestingly, again, has a beard. Very few presidents carry a beard. You know, the beard is really the sign of, of the man. Depending on how much beard you can grow. No disrespect if you may not have a beard as such but it's the symbol of it. They also say that Mr. Abraham Lincoln had some sort of Negro blood in him. But the point is now, in this instance here, and when you look at Abraham Lincoln again, he's on the $5 bill. Now watch this. You may say, but the dollar bill is George Washington. That's less than the $5. No, that's different than coins. The $5 basically is the lowest value of all the dollars. Benjamin Franklin is on the $100 bill. But you see the $1, the dollar, the dollar. Not because it's a dollar. No, it's the symbol of the currency of the United States. Everything is put against the dollar. They measure it against the dollar. They don't measure it against the $100. They don't measure it for sure against Abraham Lincoln's $5. All currencies, stock market, what's going on with the stocks and bonds, and it's put it against the dollar. Such and such to the dollar, the yen to the dollar, the pound to the dollar. What are you talking about? We can't put Abraham on the dollar. And you put him on the penny and you throw the penny in the wishing well. All the pennies, you go to the fountain, you see all the pennies in the wishing well. Anyway, so this wreath that Haile Selassie placed at the memorial of Lincoln, this wreath was made from silver coins. Mm-hmm. And the wreath, you know what a wreath is. That's, you're placing it on the memorial, you're placing it on his grave. It's like, I wasn't there, come to your funeral, but I'm here now, and I'm bringing my wreath. Listen to this.
Mr. Udall reads from Abraham Lincoln's immortal Gettysburg Address.
They gave the last full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that these days.
That we here highly resolve. Now, you see, this is serious. And anyone who knows this address, that's a key line that, writers and publishers quote all the time. And we here highly resolve.
Reads from Abraham Lincoln's immortal Gettysburg
Highly
address.
They gave the last full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain.
We here highly resolve that these dead would have not died in vain.
That this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
And that is where that phrase comes from, by the people, for the people. And so my point is here. We already highlighted at the beginning of this program the connection between Abraham Lincoln and John F. Kennedy. Undeniable. And now Haile Selassie I, in a very important time frame in the cosmic 1963, would have stepped into the United States to meet President Abraham Lincoln. Well, John F. Kennedy, Lincoln in another spiritual expression, without a doubt, spoke to the United Nations, gave Utan the Osiris, Abimelech, Sahu, Orion, after putting together the Organization of African Unity. Send my sons from afar and my daughters from the ends of the earth, the Organization of African Unity. And after speaking to the UN and after bringing the Abimelech and fulfilling all such, now we also see him even coming towards the Lincoln Memorial, the statue that was built to resemble Amenhotep III. In fact, that whole area there is ancient Kemet. And Haile Selassie leaves the wreath on the grave, basically, of Abraham Lincoln. And listen to this, not just a regular wreath, not plastic flowers, but Ethiopian coins, silver coins, to the president that was put on the brass penny. Great symbolism there. And one may want to deny that Kennedy and Lincoln are one. After Haile Selassie I left the United States of America, he went to Canada, and then after he went to Africa, visited several African countries and actually stopped the war that was taking place between Algeria and Morocco. He had to visit France to make sure all of this took place. He even went to Yugoslavia. He was not in Ethiopia for the 33rd anniversary of his coronation, the 2nd of November. And after that world tour, and he returned to Ethiopia, the news came to him that President Kennedy has been shot, killed, dead. Dallas, Texas. Haile Selassie I immediately returned to the United States of America as the chief diplomat, front and center, to see and witness the burial of the President of the United States of America, Abraham Lincoln, John F. Kennedy. Royalty and loyalty. Abatachin Janoi. Negasai Selassie. Jah Rastafari. One second.
love, Honourable Priest Isaac. It's Sister Beulah here. Just come to share a few words regarding my natal chart, which was recently done. Thank you. But firstly, I have to make mention of the rudiments of ancient astronomy course that I completed, which ultimately woke my heavens to astronomy as a subject as a whole, and the ancient fundamentals of the universe, planets, stars, and all the other beautiful things I'm learning about. Yeah, the spring equinox, real like that. And just the effect that they have on us daily. Why I think it's really important you have some basic knowledge of astronomy before you get your natal chart reading done is so you will understand the straightforward mathematics that goes into the reading that Priest Isaac does for you. The natal chart reading is nothing to be viewed with any taboo or spookism. It just offers an in-depth astrological reading of the heavens at your time of birth, and the way the Honourable Priest Isaac is able to break down the planetary alignments and interpret how they should be showing up through you as an individual is just mind-blowing and accurate to your character. Trust me, it just adds deeper meaning to self. For me personally, getting my natal chart reading done and embarking on the principles of ancient astronomy as an ongoing study daily has been the best thing I could have ever done for me and my children. Rastafari. For these few words, I'm very thankful, and for crossing paths with the Priest Isaac Institute, I will forever be grateful for. Rastafari, Empress Menensil, blessed love. Thank you.
Honorable Priest Isaac here, and I'm here with Brother Nakaya Yahawasha. And of course, how you felt about the tour, the different places we visited, the different parks, museums, churches, the Christ Mass. Give us your experience, my Lord.
Yeah, man, and bless up, Priest Isaac Institute, for coordinating, this year, necessary and either full occasion, wherein I got the opportunity now, guidance and safety and security to be able to forward here, into this year, I grounds, motherland, Ethiopia itself, and to touch in Ethiopia and also to touch in very, very sacred grounds, such as the King's Palaces, because now I am, multiple palaces where the king, resided, meeting grounds, clothes that the king wore himself. So to touch on these different areas, go to the museums, also to the national, institutes, as well as the space program to see what's going on, as well ancient, traditional Ethiopia, as well as where Ethiopia is heading for the future. Definitely, Iman, is personally encouraging myself to return here and making the necessary preparations to come forward to be here. So it's not just a dream but a reality. So I can continue to learn, because there's no way, there's so much to learn. There's no way to learn and compact everything in just one tour. So I is looking forward for the future tours, not just the next tour, but the tours up on top of the tours up on top of the tours.
Building. To everyone who has been asking, Priest Isaac, how can I make a contribution to the Institute? Press the link in the description and you'll get all the information that you need to do such. We truly appreciate your inquiry. For more information, email priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com.